but somebody got to tell it. Brought to you by T.W.C.P, an LBP Entertainment production. See, I want to speak to you today about what took place on Capitol Hill. Mr. Pete Hegseth himself sat out in front of Congress at a hearing. He was grilled, no barbecue. I mean, to the T. They spoke on everything from his past marriages and relationships, failed marriages at that, to sexual assaults that were charges that were filed and dropped, to everything from him managing a couple of veteran affairs organizations that he was at the helm of, and how he handled the finances and some of the discrepancies that came up. It was a real roast. Congress did everything they could to shuffle his feathers, ruffle his feathers. He handled it quite well. The thing with me and how I feel is that, he's coming to newfound success. So when you come into newfound success, and especially in a small window, such as being a nominee, because it's still in the air, it's 50-50. Now, with being selected in this small window of being a nominee for Secretary of Defense, he has a lot of opportunities and things coming at him, a lot of functions he's frolicking at, a lot of parties and venues that he's entertaining. And I state that to state that when I seen him on the Hill today, he was very articulate. He responded very well. But what I didn't see for somebody that's going to be the head of the Department of Defense, somebody who's going to be the Secretary of Defense, what I didn't see was the discernment implemented enough to when to speak and when not to speak, to him not being as conservative as somebody should be, who is going to be the Secretary of Defense, somebody who is wasn't as cautious to speak as he should be. Now, was he not responding on cue and with responses that answered the questions at hand and resolved whatever issues each senator brought up? Yes, he did. But it was the fact of how fast he responded to some of them, and I would have liked to see a little bit more forethought and caution before he spoke, because you got to understand, this is one of the most confidential, one of the most classified positions that you could take in Washington. You understand? And for him to speak like he spoke, which he did nothing wrong, but it doesn't show me the role of a Secretary of Defense. Now, am I for him? Of course. I mean, he's a veteran. He loves the American people. He's trying to make change. But what I want you to understand, when you're in Washington, I don't care what part of Washington you're in. I've walked through the Capitol. When you're in Washington, you always have to be playing ball, ready to play ball. You always have to be ready to play ball, be on the defense, and be very cautious and meticulous and pay very close attention to your conduct and your etiquette. Trump knows this. I don't know. He should be grooming him for this, but I didn't see someone who was ready to take on one of the most classified positions in the world. I seen someone who was coming to make a change, but doesn't understand that even though you're coming to make a change, you still have to be able to play ball, because you're coming in a court. You're coming in an arena that has been established for years. You understand? They have home court. You understand? They have home field advantage. You understand? And so I didn't see someone who understood that even though you're coming with Trump to make change, you understand that you still have to be able to play ball and ready to play ball and in that mindset. I seen somebody who was, we're going to prove you wrong. We're going to make change. And, I'm gonna talk to the American people while doing it, and I'm a speak freely while doing it, and that's not how you play ball in Washington. That's how you get torn down, ripped apart, dismantled, and that's how you have an early exit out the door. Now, do I feel like Hegseth is going to actually be able to be confirmed as Secretary of Defense? Is he going to be accepted as the nominee? Me personally, I don't feel, even though the Republicans run the House, I feel like there's going to be a Republican that sticks his neck out and goes against Trump and his wants and his wishes. And I feel like they're going to do it because they feel like it's best for the American people. I don't feel like he will win this nominee. I feel like if he does, if he just happens to, he will be fired early. I mean, even with, you had a couple of senators, you had a senator who asked him, the amount of infantrymen in the Army, the Air Force, the SEALs, the Marines, and even though he answered very close, he was off each answer. He was off maybe a few thousand, tens of thousands, maybe a few tens of thousands. So, which showed me that he's not focusing on the task at hand. These are things you should know. Talking about running one of the biggest militaries in the world, is over 3.4 million military men and women abroad. These are, and once again, I'm all for them making change. I want to see them make change, but I think with this newfound success in this small window, you got to understand there's functions he's been going to, there's parties and penthouses he's been in, there's interviews and different opportunities to make money. Because this window, you have to take advantage of it, because even if you lose, you're not going to always be the nominee for Secretary of Defense. So this is something this is a newfound success, and it's a small window. And I know, as anybody would, you'll try to capitalize off of it as much as you could, whether it goes good or goes bad. But it just showed me somebody who really doesn't know how much he's going to be criticized, scrutinized, how much he's going to be under fire. And I feel like with him being, being nominated and as a nominee of Secretary of Defense, this is, Trump's personal pit bull on a leash. This is his personal sniper. Trump can finally take aim at whoever he wants, whoever's in his sights, whoever's on his list, whoever's on his agenda. Trump can take aim and doesn't need 2/3 of Congress to do it. You understand? And so I feel like, it's going to be, even though the Republicans run the House, is going to be a very, very hard, slim chance that he gets in. And if he gets in, because of such war times that we in, China wants to go through it with Taiwan, North Korea's in Ukraine, Russia's in Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Palestinian fight, Iran. Even though, some of these things are subsiding, and I feel like he's not focused as much as he should be on the things that he's going to be at the helm of when it comes to resolving resolutions, safety of military men. And if it was somebody who was used to being in the media at this level, like a 3-star general, 4-star general, 5-star general, they're here to be more in the game than what Hegseth is right now, because they're used to this. They're used to the media in their face in Washington. They're used to interviews being requested. They're used to, and they all these things come about while they're still helping run the country. So I think that he could be a great asset, especially as a veteran. um, um, of this country. I feel like he could be an asset, but he really has to focus and forget about, drown out the media, proving proving the world wrong, proving people wrong, making a personal statement, and a personal setting a personal precedent, rather than focusing on the job. Opposed to focusing on the job and making sure that the objective is completed. If he focuses on the objective and is in tune and in sync with President Trump and on the same page and conservative with his words, conservative when it comes to speaking, this could be a game changer for the American people. But just as you can see behind me, he's smirking. He really doesn't understand how serious this is. You know, he came from veteran, running some veteran affairs organizations, having a position on a new news broadcasting station, to six-figure salary, one of the most powerful men in the world, employing over 3 million military men and women, having his finger on nuclear codes, and he's just, I feel like he's just not ready. And I feel like the Congress, even though it's run by Republicans, I feel like they're not going to let him in for that position. And if he is let in, I feel like because of the things that are going to take place in this small 4-year window when it comes to worldwide conflict, he's going to slip up and he's going to have a reason for Trump to throw him under the bus. Those are my thoughts. Pete Hegseth on Capitol Hill got grilled today at a Congress hearing. Once again, I thank you for joining me. Tune in tomorrow for another episode of They Like to Hide the Truth, but Somebody Gotta Tell It. T.W.C.P. production, brought to you by LBP Entertainment. Thank you again, folks. Much love. God bless. Good speed.